Yo YouTube! Hello there. This is a video for today. I'm doing it on the same day for a change. Today is Monday, 27th of November, and I'm just heading home after an okay day, I would say. So let me tell you what happened today. So I didn't have a job this morning. I woke up quite late and didn't start looking at the feed until about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Excuse me. And I was aware that I wasn't going to be working tomorrow because my van is in for a mini service or filters and oil service. So I can't go too far away today. So what did I end up getting? I'm trying to remember what I did this first thing. It was a pickup from Spalding to Cambridge, and the pickup time was between 9:20 and 10:20, and I must have got it about 9 o'clock, I guess. The job was for 57 loaded miles, and it required a long wheelbase van, and I bid £75 for that job. And I put a bid on a few jobs this morning. I'm quite tired. And I got it. So when the guy rang me, he said, "How long are you going to be?" I put the actual pickup postcode in my sat nav, and it was actually about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It wasn't very long at all. It was my side of Spalding. So I got myself in the van and went over there. My first mistake today was I just wasn't really concentrating, and I was driving down I think it was the A16 I use, and I use it all the time. I'm always going to Peterborough down the road or elsewhere, and I just got into my head I was going down the road, and I went down the road, and suddenly my arrival time, rather than being 5 to 10, was 10 past 10. And I realised I'd taken the wrong junction at the roundabout, just gone the way I usually go. So turned around and came back and went to the correct place. It was only about 3-minute delay, but I just thought, I need to concentrate on this. So I arrived at the pickup place at about 10 o'clock. So I turned round. I didn't go the alternative route that Google Maps said I should go. I just turned around the road and then came back. So I was there about 10 o'clock. And then I went to the first set of shutters and said I was headed to pick up, going to Cambridge, gave them the name of the customer, and they said I'll go to the office. So I went to the office and they said, "Oh, go next door, go to the warehouse." So I said I'd already just done that. So I eventually found someone who was helpful, and he was the warehouse manager, and he had no idea what I was there to do. And I said, "I'm picking up this item, which is 8mm. And he said, 8mm? That's not right. We do it 18mm. So I thought, oh, okay, fair enough, I misheard. So I said, okay, well, that's where I'm going. It's their customer, that's what he's after. So I just rang the number up for the customer, just to double check what he was expecting, because obviously the people that I was with didn't know. And he did confirm that it was a bespoke item of 8mm wide. And so I got the name of the company he works for, and then confirmed the thing he wanted, and told the warehouse manager who was next to me, and he said he'd go and call the customer, so the person he worked for. So I went back to my van, and then he came back. The shutters opened. That's it. The shutters opened about 10 minutes later, and I thought, oh, they're ready for me. I went back in, and they were still making it. So he had, the warehouse manager had got hold of the shipper, and he had found out from them what they wanted, and then they were basically cutting it, I suppose, rather than making it. They were cutting the item to size, and they said it's really difficult because it's thinner than usual, and they were struggling to do it. So I was waiting and having a little chat with the warehouse manager. Just asked him how business was. He said business was good. He just moved into a bigger warehouse, and I said that's something good. And in the end, by the time they got it cut and I was ready to go, it was 40 minutes after I arrived at sort of 10 o'clock. So I called the shipper and just updated them to say, oh, I have now got the item, I'm about to leave, the customer knows I'm coming now, and yeah, I'll let you know when I'll drop it off. At this point I didn't mention waiting time. I wondered if the shipper would, but he didn't mention it either. He didn't mention, oh, I'll pay you for the waiting time. So I thought, oh, I'll just get on with the job and then see how I feel about it at the end of the job. And so I went down to Cambridge, and luckily it was my side of Cambridge. I had to go into the town centre, which is quite difficult. It was busy, and bus routes and everything. And I rang the end user customer, who was a tradesman, and again, and said, I'm 2 minutes away. He said, yeah, I'll meet you there. And he was actually just behind me, so he could sort of. I went past the tractor in the road. He said, have you just come past the tractor? I said, yes, I have. So he was just behind me, so that was good. I was not very far from the big drop-off place. So when I arrived, he came up behind me, and then he took the item off me and signed my pod. And then I decided I would call the shipper to talk about waiting time. And what I did was, I'm going to talk about my view on waiting time discussions now, but let me just tell you what I did first of all. So I said to the shipper, oh, I was waiting 40 minutes, can I have a bit of waiting time for it, please? I left it in his court to sort of react to that. And he said, he got into the system and then said, yeah, what would you like? And I said, I think a £5 would be fair. And he said, oh, yeah, that's good, I'll give you £10. So I thought it was really generous, and it was a nice, I think it was a nice offer that I accepted gratefully. So in the end I got £85 for that job. Now, off the back of that, I was thinking about waiting time discussions, and I wanted to share with you my view on two ways that you can approach it. There may be other ways, but there's two ways that I'm going to approach it in future, and I'll tell you the reasons why I'm doing it this way. So I think, so first of all, some background, some context. I think that it's correct that as a driver, if we're delayed by a significant amount of time, we should be compensated for that, because it is preventing us from earning more money. And as self-employed courier drivers, if we're hanging around and it's not our fault, we should have some recognition for that. I'm also mindful that this is a relationship that we're working with shippers. So we're working with shippers. We're not at odds. We're working together, and they may not have, shippers may not have the margins in their work. And I want to combine the context of this with my previous thing I said, that I find that in my mind, there's two kinds of shippers. There's the driver-friendly kind, that kind of mid-sized businesses that kind of have perhaps one office, and they all know each other, and the boss is sort of there and overseeing it, and they know what it's like to be a driver, and they are quite detailed in their description of the jobs, and they are quite fair about what they pay in terms of the job itself and also anything else. And there are other shippers that are quite big enterprises that have a big turnover of people. They might have more than one office. They might have quite inexperienced staff coming in who are doing the office work. They don't really know the ins and outs of what it's like to be a driver. And they tend, in my mind, to be much less flexible, more bottom line driven, money orientated, and not about the relationship. And it's not the same for everyone. I'm generalising to some extent, but I would definitely say the larger the shipper gets, the less person-centred they become, in my experience. And at a certain size, you can become a driver, shipper, just a shipper. And at a certain size, you can still retain that kind of professional, friendly, working collaboration approach with drivers. But then something happens at a certain size, and it just shifts to different kind of outlook. And what I found in the past is the shippers that I like to deal with, the smaller ones, the medium-sized ones, the fairer ones, they'll give you a fair rate for your waiting time. Sometimes not even asking. Whereas it's the larger shippers that are just focused on the bottom line, that will haggle you down for the price, and they'll try and not pay you any waiting time, and then they'll haggle that down. And it's those people that I don't really like dealing with. So I'm going to have two strategies moving forward for waiting time discussion. And the first strategy is, if I feel I'm working with a shipper that's fair and professional, and I'm going to keep saying the same three words: fair, professional, and polite. I mean, they're not the only factors that bear in mind, but that kind of summarises the kind of people that I want to work with. If they're those people, I'm going to say to them, I've been waiting for X amount of time, I'd like to have some waiting time, please. And just leave it open at that. And they might say, well, I don't think so. Or they might say, yeah, how much do you want? Or they might say, yeah, I'll give you this amount. But I'm going to make it just a discussion that's open-ended and really led by what they feel is fair. On the other hand, for the shippers that I know I'm going to have to fight with, or kind of, they're going to be more bottom line oriented, I'm going to go and say, I've been waiting for X amount of time, I want this amount of money for my waiting time, please. I'm not going to give them the discretion to decide what it is. Now they'll probably come back to me and say, I'm not paying that because it's too much or whatever, but at least I'm laying down an expectation at the start of the conversation that I'm asking for a certain amount. You can either choose or not choose to give it to me, that's up to you, but I'm not going to leave it in your hands. Whereas with those shippers that are fairer, I'm happy to leave it in their hands, and they can give me whatever they think is fair. And I think by having that, for me, by having those two strategies in my head, gives me a structure to have those conversations with. Because up until now, I've kind of just been focusing on what my terms and conditions are, which is £7.50 per park quarter of an hour after the first half an hour. And because I'm quite, I'm not very creative, and when I'm having a conversation with someone, I have to be quite, what's the word? I can't not be distracted by it. I have to kind of be clear-eyed about what I'm trying to get out of it. I'm not great at dealing with people spontaneity. Oh God. With spontaneity. Oh dear. So I've had to come up with strategies whereby I have a preemptive plan I can follow, and then be reactive to it as and when, within certain parameters, as and when I feel I need to be. And I think for someone like me, having some sort of plan in my head helps me to have those conversations. Now for other people, it'll just be really, they won't even think about it. They'll just think of something in the moment that feels like the right thing to do because they're good with people. And I understand that not everyone thinks the same as I do, but for me, I'm going to look at it in those two ways: the discussion time and handballing for charges, conversations that we have. So I hope that makes sense. As my new catchphrase will be, it makes sense in my head. Right. Moving on. So I was then looking for a job when I offloaded. I was in a village, Cotton. I went and parked up just in a little lay-by in the village and looked for jobs. And I had put a future journey on, and so I had got jobs coming up around me. There's actually more in the area than I thought there would be. I thought Cambridge would be quite quiet. There was a reasonable trickle of jobs coming through that I could bid on. Anything going to London I just dismissed. Anything with a backload I just dismissed. Today, anything going, I had this one job going to the northwest, I just dismissed, Manchester and further up. Anything going, really I wanted to stay quite local. There was a couple of jobs going to sort of Sheffield and Barnsley, which I felt that time of day I was okay doing those, so I could have got back down home in time. But I think the other job was like Preston, which I didn't do. And then I got a job come up from, get in front of me. It was picking up from Stansted, not the airport, and going to Huntingdon. So I was sort of going south and then go back up towards where I live. And that was for a small van, small van job, 45 miles loaded, and I bid on that job £50, £50. And I was about half an hour away from the pickup. It was due to be picked up between 12:25 and 1:25. And I arrived pretty much smack bang in the middle at about 1 o'clock. No, at 1:05 by the time I found it. And I arrived at the reception, rang the bell, and the lady answered, and I said, what I was there for. She said, it's okay, I'll come down to you. So she came in, and then she said, I've just got to get a label for this. She was holding a plastic bag. The plastic bag was in the reception area, she picked it up. So just got to get a label for it. I said, can I wait in here because it's raining? She said, that's fine. So she went out back upstairs, came back down, and said to me, this actually was being cancelled. We're going to get our rep to take it later. She said, I think she said she texted the shipper, but I might have misheard that. She might have sent emails. So I said, that's fine, okay. And he said, are you sure you want me to take it? She said, I'm sure. So I went back out and then called the shipper, and it went to voicemail. So I just left a message with him saying that it had been cancelled and that I would like a cancellation fee, perhaps half of what I've done, £25 would be fair, and then left that with him. I wouldn't end the CX until I'd heard from him. And then I just got on. Oh yes, I forgot to mention something. On my way to the pickup, I had bid on a job, and then I sort of cancelled it when I got this job. But then I re-looked at it, and it was a job picking up between 2 and 3:30 from Shefford, doing 4 more pickups, ending in Bedford. And I knew what the job was. I'd done it something similar before. Not the same place, but I'd done the same sort of job before. And I thought I could do that. But could I get there by 2:30 though? Could I get this job done, get to Huntingdon, let's say by 2, and get down to Sheffield by 2:30? And I was just in the middle of working that out. This is on the way to my pickup in Stansted. And then I got a call from the shipper offering me the job. And I said, well, before I accept it, can I just check with you, is there any flexibility on the arrival time? Because I'm in the middle of a pickup here, and I'm hoping to get to you by 2:30, but I'm not sure I can. And we looked at the timings, and I said, to be realistic, I probably won't get to your first pickup till 2:45. Can I still do your job? And he said, that should be okay. And so he put it through to me. So fast forward now to my aborted pickup in Stansted, and suddenly I wasn't that disappointed with the cancellation, because I had a job to go to immediately booked in. I could go to it now on time. And from where I was in Stansted to Sheffield, it was 40 minutes. So by the time I sort of got off site, I was going to arrive at about 2 o'clock-ish at the first pickup. So I called that shipper back and said, good news, I can come to yours on time. And I had a bit of a chat with him about this route and what work he does. I didn't think there was much stuff local to me that he would do, but we had a little bit of a chat, and I hope that I left with a good impression with him. If I do come across him again, he'll remember me. So now I sort of got the £85 from the first job, £25 for the cancellation. That wasn't confirmed yet. And then I was on my way to do this job for £130. It said it's £64, 64 miles for the job, which I doubted, because it was 4 pickups from between Sheffield down to Stevenage and Hertford and back up to Bedford. But I thought I'll set my manometer and just double check what it was. So I had 150, so 130 bid for a long wheelbase job for, in theory, 64 miles. So I did the job. I made my way to the first pickup. Oh yeah, and on the way, so within that 40 minutes, I did ring the first shipper again and got through to him, explained about the cancellation, and he hadn't been told about it. So the first he knew about it was me calling him the second time to say that it had been cancelled. So I feel that he was grateful that I did that. He agreed with £25 for a cancellation fee to update CX, and then I made my way to my first pickup for this the 5 pickups I had to do. So my plan then was to get this done as soon as possible. I know the stuff I'm picking up, I just don't know the actual pickup places at each point. So because we do this route, the routes that are kind of set. So once you do it once, it's easy second time. The very first time you do them, you don't quite know what everyone wants to do, where all the post rooms are, and where you're meant to go. Anyway, so first one was Hitchin. I got there at about 2:05ish, and then went on and did another pickup at Stevenage. There's a couple there. Then there's another pickup at Hartford, and another one somewhere on Shefford, Hitchin, 2 in Stevenage, and 1 in Hartford. That's the 5th one. Then I went from Hartford to Bedford to offload what I had. And I got to the depot. I had been to that depot before, and I offloaded and was finished by just nearly 6 o'clock. So in total it's a 4-hour route that I did for £130, which I think is a fair price for that work. I had a quick look at any work going my way, but there's nothing. There is work available to do if I was tramping out, but there isn't anything going towards where I live. So I'm just demanding the hour and 10 minutes home and having a reasonably early night. So my van's going in for a service tomorrow, and then the following day is my 1-year anniversary with my partner. The 1-year anniversary that we actually met, our first date. So I won't be working that day. So next day I'll be working will be Thursday, and then we'll see how Thursday Friday goes. But the stats for today are as follows. Excuse me. So for today, by the time I get home, I will have worked a total of 10 hours exactly. 246 miles driven, and I'm basing my mileage cost this week on what it was average last week, because I'm not filled up yet this week. I've still got half a tank of diesel in, so I might actually not get any fill-ups done this week at all, because what happens on Thursday and Friday. And so 15.24 pence per mile that I drive is what I'm basing it my fuel costs on. And so my fuel costs this week, today, were £37.49. I earned from 3 CX jobs today. So that was the £85, that includes the £10 for waiting. That was from Spalding to Cambridge, Cotton. The £25 cancellation fee, and then £130 for the 5 pickups, and then going to Bedford. So Shefford, Hitchin, Stevenage, Hartford, and Bedford. Oh, actually, I did. The mileage was 63 miles, so actually it was accurate. So 63 miles loaded, £130 for a long wheelbase job. So actually, that kind of work, I wouldn't mind doing more of that. It's not something that's done by one driver. It's not on the CX regularly. It's a driver's route that he does. If he's ill or can't work, then it's put on the CX. So it's not something I can necessarily rely on. but I know enough about the type of work now to know that if it comes up, I'll do it, and I can be confident that as long as I've got some reasonable timescales, I can find the places I need to go to. So my earnings today after fuel comes to £203, 203. So it's an okay day. It's not my target, but I mean, I didn't have a job this morning, and I'm going to be home reasonably early. So for those two reasons, I think that's not a bad day. I'm also going to share with you a little tactic that I'm going to try and do. I'm not necessarily going to succeed at it, but it's just something I'm going to try to do sort of as my winter tactic. I've seen Dave Statesman's videos from last January, and he was talking about his winter tactic, and I think having done this job now for a while, I get a lot more now why he said the things he said. So his tactic is to stay local during the winter months, and I think because he lives in a particular area, he can do that quite easily. My area is not quite so full of work, but I'm going to do a version of that as an experiment, and I'm going to just see if it works and see whether it's successful. I might have to reduce my expected target, but I think it's something that's worth me pursuing. So I want to. The reason why I'm doing this tactic is because I want to. Because for a lot of reasons, I'm going to have to do less hours on the road. I'm not going to go into it all now. I have hinted at it in a couple of videos before. But between now and Christmas, I want to be able to keep working, and I want to kind of have some sort of reliability of income while I can. So I've worked out that I don't want to do London, and so really a lot of what comes out of Peterborough goes south towards London, kind of drags you in. So I want to avoid going south as my first job of the day. So my first job of the day, I want it to either be west or north from where I am, and then I want the second job to get me to the West Midlands area. I would accept the East Midlands, but for my tactic, I want it to be the West Midlands, and I would accept south of Manchester, so quite a big area. So it's kind of, I'd go to sort of Tewkesbury down in the south, and I'd go up as far as probably Stockport at the bottom side of Manchester, if that is all I can get, and then sort of anything between those two, really looking at West Midlands, aiming to be there about between 3 and 4 o'clock, and then I want to try and get a third job heading anywhere from the West Midlands or wherever I end up to East Anglia, east, anywhere. It could be Corby, it could be Norwich, it could be Peterborough, it could be Skegness. To be fair, I'd even do, to some extent, I'd even do Hull. Hull's not very close to me, but it's not a bad run down. It's a couple of hours down. It would be a bit more dead miles than I want to do, but for some work, I'll see. I'd rather not do Hull. I'd rather not do that job because it is dead miles back home. But if it's a good paying job and that gives me a route back home, being paid a good rate, then I would take it. So kind of a triangle-ish. So west, stay west, then come east, really like one tactic, or north, then go southwest to the Midlands, and then east. It's like a triangle. And I've got a bit of flexibility there in terms of how far I do the first job, how far I do the second job, whether I do small jobs or long jobs. But I think that's something I need to try and cultivate. And if I can get shippers that have regular routes doing those, either regular routes back in the evening or regular routes out in the morning, then I think that's something I need to look at trying to do. I had a call this morning from a local shipper that I wanted to cultivate a relationship with, and they offered me a job for tomorrow, which was really, really good, really kind of them. But I have got my van going for service tomorrow, so I couldn't do that job. But I feel that this talking to local shippers is having a positive effect on my ability to get offers of work, at least. So I don't want to be too hard on myself in terms of I'm still less than a year into this job. I do have certain personality traits that make certain networking difficult for me, but I am trying to network. I am trying to sort of be that reliable, trusted same-day courier from known contacts, and I think it is. I'm going in the right direction. I reckon, give myself a couple of years, I might well have some pretty decent routes under my belt. But you're here to see the journey as it happens, and the ups and the downs, as it were. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it at that. I'm going to say I'm so grateful for my partner. It's kind of, we had some discussions over the weekend, and she's amazing for me. She's absolutely amazing. I obviously have told her this. This isn't my way of telling her, like through this video. I do tell her this on a reasonably regular basis, so she won't be surprised. But I think I have said that I wanted to share what I'm grateful for. I'm not going to do it every day because it becomes forced then. But I do want to, when something in particular comes up. I spent like a couple of weeks telling you the sorts of things I'm grateful for, and they're kind of ongoing. But as and when a particular important bit of gratitude comes up, I will say it in my videos. And I think that this time of year, with things that are going on in both of our lives, I'm just so pleased and so grateful to have met her. So I hope that you drivers and shippers out there who are the professional, friendly, polite ones are doing well. I hope you're successful, however you choose to define that term. And I'll see you, or speak to you at least, probably on Thursday evening or Friday morning. Farewell.